So last month I was trying to figure out how can I use AI in my business. I like tech things. I like to try to be on like the cutting edge around some kind of stuff, but AI just sounded like one of those things that sounded really cool and actually very usable within an online business. And so I started with Midjourney and started making dog wall art sticker templates, but didn't want my wife yelling at me about how low ticket products aren't really going to work.
Have AI create like some dog that people want to buy for like $3.
So what I did instead was I used ChatGPT, and I used ChatGPT in a number of different ways to basically up efficiency, to basically like get better ideas and find ways to drive more revenue through our digital products business. And so today I want to share those findings with you. I want to show you kind of like how I worded things, how I worked them, how I used the information that ChatGPT was able to spit out, and how it was able to make us an extra 10K that month. So if you don't know who I am, my name's Doug, and my wife Haley and I run a 7-figure digital products business. And what we do is we basically help content creators, or basically anyone who's online, to be able to take their knowledge and turn it into some type of digital product like a course or coaching program, so that way they can make the money that they want, they can live the life that they want, they can retire their spouse, they can take their kids out of daycare and homeschool them, they can race cars if they want to, they can do basically whatever it is that they want with their time and their money. So if you're into that, if you want to learn strategies and skills to be able to do that kind of stuff, be sure to hit subscribe down below, like the video if you end up liking it, and let's jump into it. So just a quick disclaimer, ChatGPT isn't going to do the work for you. You still have to use your brain to figure out how to use ChatGPT, but it's going to come pretty close. So the first thing that I wanted to be able to do was basically like look at my business and figure out what are the things that are taking up a bunch of time, a bunch of my effort, and things that I don't necessarily want to offload to like our virtual assistant or, you know, anybody else like that. What can I do and have some type of AI? And I don't want to call it a bot because sometimes I feel like that's offensive to the AI, but whatever. And one of the things that I landed on that basically takes up a ton of my time in terms of brainstorming and creating and getting ready to publish and things like that is writing emails. There are like 500 different types of emails. Yes, that's hyperbole, but there are a lot of different types of emails and a lot of different types of use cases for email. And so ChatGPT is actually really good at understanding what kind of emails I want it to write and how I want it to write them and what the purpose and intent is of writing these emails. So that's what I wanted it to do. I wanted it to be able to draft like funnel emails and content emails and value-driven emails, and even emails that go into a welcome series, or things that are like follow-up emails when people don't check out in one of our carts. And so basically it was able to do a lot of that really well. But to make it work really well, what I had to do first was actually have ChatGPT quiz me on my business. And I know that sounds kind of weird, right? Like I'm going to have an AI ask me questions, but that's exactly what I did. I told it that I wanted to be able to write emails, and I told it that, hey, I want you to ask me questions so you can better understand your business. Sound good? And it's like, good. And it asked me a bunch of questions about like tone and who it's for and what I'm going to be doing with the emails and what the person is supposed to be buying. And it was able to better understand how we speak with our brand and what the purpose of our brand is and who we're talking to, and craft a more elegant, eloquent email that doesn't sound like a bot actually wrote it. And what was even better was that after I told it to do all of this stuff, I was even able to take things like our scripts for our YouTube videos, tell ChatGPT I want it to write an email for me based on this script, drop it in, and then it pumps out an email that is based on that topic and can even lead to linking to that YouTube video if I ask it to. So basically it was able to save me a ton of time in terms of brainstorming or getting into a creative mood. And because sometimes you need to be like, have the creative juices flowing when it comes to writing these emails. They can't be that boring of emails. Now, obviously, yeah, I have to sit down and skim through the email, make sure it looks good. I have to rewrite it. Sometimes I'll run it through Quillbot. If I'm feeling really bored, I'll sit there and have it paraphrase for me, and then I'll go back through and look at it again. But it saved me a ton of time from starting from a blank slate when I have other things that I could be doing with that time. So after I got started with the emails, I thought, well, what else am I going to have ChatGPT do? Because if I can write my emails and better understand my business, I want to retain this conversation that I'm having with ChatGPT. And that's how it actually segments everything, is in conversations. And so the AI will actually sit there and remember your conversations and what you said previously, and you can refer back to it as long as it's in the same conversation. I'll try to show it on the screen here. But the second thing that I was able to do, you know, that to basically save me a lot of time so I can go work on the money making activities, I was able to use it for social media content. Now, like I said, sometimes you're just not feeling it when it comes to social media. Okay. And Haley has like a very specific, rigorous research method when it comes to her YouTube videos and when it comes to Instagram Reels. And sometimes I don't really want to do that as much. I mean, I'll continue to do it, and I'll verify the content through her golden nugget method is what she calls it. But I'll use ChatGPT to help me figure out ideas and starting points and basically brainstorm a lot of the social media content. So again, I make sure that I'm using the conversation where I actually told it to quiz me about my business. And if I didn't, I'll go ahead and I'll have it quiz me again, and maybe I'll give it some different answers and see what else it pumps out this time. And then from there, I can start from very broad top funnel ideas. So I'll just have it ask things like, what do people struggle with in this this niche, or what is it that people are trying to do here, but for some reason they can't. And as you start to brainstorm these big ideas, and you can ask it to give lists, and it's very important that you actually tell ChatGPT how you want the information output, okay? Because if you tell it to give you a list of 40 things, it will give you a list of 40 things. Now, if you just tell it to tell me about something, it could be a bullet point list, it could be 3 sentences, it could be one of those basic like old school paragraph essay things that you write where there's like an intro, 3 bodies, and then an outro that you used to write in elementary school or something like that. And so you have to be very specific with the way that you talk to, and I use talk to lightly, but the way that you talk to the AI and have a conversation with it. And so basically I would tell it to give me a big brainstorm list of content, of pain points and struggles that people have, because that's what people are searching for social media content, right? That's what people are searching online, is how to fix specific problems for their specific person, right? And they're trying to do that. And so I'd have ChatGPT start with that brainstorm. I'd go through, pick out some of the ones that I like most. I'd have it elaborate on some of those topics, and then I'd have it continue to break things down further until I was at a point where I was like, hey, this is actually a pretty good idea. I can run with this for a script or for a post idea, or to be able to run it by Haley. But the whole idea here is to let ChatGPT inspire you with ideas, okay? It will not pick the most up-to-date, best information when it comes to being able to figure out everything that you want to be able to write about, okay? You have to still implement your own research methods with ChatGPT. And another cool thing you can actually do is, because it has a lot of information, if you're using the basic like free ChatGPT, it has information I think up until like September 2021 or something like that. You know, there's some date that was a couple years ago at the time of recording this video. And so you don't want to sit there and just think that is all the information that there is. You still have to go out and do your own stuff. Just let ChatGPT do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. And one of the other cool things it can actually do for you is it can tell you about different types of content that you can include. I mean, it has things like guides and interviews and how-tos and like pros and cons and different types of styles of content. So you can mix that, a list of different styles of content, with the different ideas that it gives you. And it's a really good starting base for you to do your research on. So once I have those topics from ChatGPT, the third thing I'll actually have it do is I'll have it actually start scripting for me. I know it sounds really lazy, but I shouldn't just be rewriting the research that I've done in another format. I can ask ChatGPT to rewrite that for me or to elaborate on specific points. And so the other part about this too is like, yeah, generally I can write a script and sit there and think, okay, I think people want to see this, and I think they'll want to see this next, and I think that this point's going to hit really well. And ChatGPT can actually give you like an outsider's perspective, and you know, inside the computer or whatever, it can give you an outsider's perspective on this content, and it can give you an outsider's perspective on a topic, right? A long time ago when I was first messing around with ChatGPT, I asked it to actually, you know, just for fun, outline a blog post or a YouTube video, I forget which one it was, to basically outline how to build a gunpla. And a gunpla is like this little, you know, model kit kind of thing, like this guy. Technically this is an Ava and not a Gundam, but you get the point, or maybe you don't. And so when I asked it to write this script that was here, I was thinking it would say things like clip out the parts, and then you have to attach the parts together and then set it up and then put it on a stand. But it actually got super in depth because it involved knowledge that wasn't from my perspective, right? So what it did was it talked about like painting and panel lining and, you know, cutting everything out and sanding and a lot of more advanced stuff that I normally wouldn't have done because I'm just a beginner with everything. And so it's good to put this stuff into ChatGPT to give it another perspective on things. And then still, like I said, put in your own experiences and make it something that's unique and not just copy it out of the bot. So again, you can ask it to outline things. And once it outlines, you can ask it to expand on those outlines. And as it expands on those outlines, you can ask it to rephrase things and kind of make it more unique and emphasize different points that are there. And you can even have it suggest different types of shots for the script. So it'll say like, do a close-up or do a flyby and do this thing and do a side-by-side. It's actually pretty cool. Like if you're really not feeling creative, you can totally use it in that way. I don't tend to use the shot list too much because that is, I feel like, a much more human thing to think of, although AI and human is getting pretty close here. I tend to think of it as a much more human thing in terms of like evoking emotion or different types of shots and different types of scenes for creative video, right? But it does a pretty good job if you're just not feeling up for it. So scripting those videos and really just scripting content in general, ChatGPT is pretty good at it. All right, so the fourth thing that I had it do was different. It didn't have anything to do with coming up with content. It was actually market research. Now, again, I kind of got this idea from sitting there thinking from an outsider's perspective with the social media content. Well, I know what my target audience needs, and I know what our target audience pain points are. They're things like not having enough time, not being able to spend time with their kids. It's not having the money that they want, not being able to make money quickly enough, having to have a boss and you know, report to a boss. I know those types of pain points, but what else is out there? What other things are people thinking of? Are there other things that I should be considering in terms of products or potential solutions for our target audience? And that's where the market research side of ChatGPT can really come in handy. And don't just ask it things. I mean, yeah, you can start with these things in terms of asking it things like, hey, what do you think the typical like gender and age range and average household income is for people that want to do this? And you can have it try to look up things and do stuff like that. And you can kind of do that, but that's not really the use case here. What I did instead was I told ChatGPT about my persona so far. Okay, who are they? What do they do? What do they need help with? What do I think their pain points are? So I can have it create a customer avatar that it remembers in its conversation. And then I do something really weird. Okay, then I ask it, okay, what do you think some of the pain points are that I haven't referenced here yet? What do you think some of the common pain points are between people that want to do these things? And then it would give me a list. And it was actually pretty accurate to what I had already thought of in terms of like internally, what else I could think of in terms of pain points. It was things like time and money and daycare and kids and, raising the kids and potentially homeschooling. There's a lot of stuff in there that I was really shocked about. And then I got really weird with it and decided to ask a bot. I decided to ask a bot about people's dreams to try to think about dreams and like, what are their dreams? What are their aspirations? That got a little weird. And, it was kind of interesting to see what an AI could think of when I would ask it to think like a human and what kind of dreams it has. But then realistically, I asked it more around like, what other products or services that might be related do you think that they would be interested in based on even specific competitors? And I could link in different competitors as long as they're not too new because of that database restriction within ChatGPT. And I was able to get some really good ideas for potential new stuff we'll be doing in the future. So the last thing that I want to be able to talk about here, this fifth point, is to actually use ChatGPT as a business consultant. Now I get it, stay with me here, okay? I know ChatGPT isn't a person, they're not really consultants, but basically ChatGPT is a language processing AI, okay? It can pull information from the internet, it can have conversations, it can do research, it can provide, new information to you. And so basically what I'm able to do is have a dialogue with it. If I'm not in the mood to be able to talk to Haley for some reason, or realistically, she doesn't want to talk to me, or it's, she's busy, or I just feel like bouncing ideas off of an AI for fun, then I can do that. And that's what I use ChatGPT for as like a business consultant. So it's kind of similar to market research, right? And what I'll do is I'll take the ideas from the market research and then I'll go into ChatGPT and I'll say, hey, if you were to do this type of product, okay, or if you were to do this type of thing, would you do this or this? And sometimes ChatGPT will spit out like a generic reply, like, it doesn't have the most up-to-date information or things like that. But then you just have to try to rephrase it in a question that lets it do its job in terms of like the research that's there, okay? It's like, how do you feel about this one versus this one? Or which one of these taglines or headlines or titles do you think is more likely to hook the person that we talked about previously in the conversation or target audience? And so doing those kinds of things lets me hear, I'll put that in air quotes, it lets me hear different ideas or different thoughts on things and lets me actually sit back and think, okay, is this the best solution for whatever it is I'm trying to do? And on top of that, and I know that a lot of this sounds like very top level, and it's because it is, okay? Like there's no real restriction to what you can talk to ChatGPT about. That's why I'm trying to leave it very broad for you guys here. But what you can also do is you can ask it to reframe questions that you have or that you want to ask people. You can have it reframe emails. You can have it reframe, like I said, taglines or descriptions. And you can even put in like your thoughts on something and basically just have it give its opinion on stuff, which realistically is more like it just doing more research around whatever it is that you're saying. But it's a good way to have a dialogue when instead you might just be having a monologue with yourself and you can't break out of that, first person persona that's there. So using ChatGPT in these 5 ways, we've been able to put out more content, book more calls, and land more sales, basically just because we have more time or we're being more efficient with our time. Now, I can't ask ChatGPT to go like wash my car. I can't ask it to watch my kids, although I don't know if I'd ever want it to watch my kids, but it is saving me time in places where I would be spending a lot of time like just thinking to myself, okay? A lot of times entrepreneurs kind of fall into this realm, or creators fall into this realm of just like sitting down and thinking. And it's a good thing, okay? You should sit down at some point in the day by yourself in a quiet space and just think to yourself. Sometimes that scares people, but if you can just do that, sometimes your brain, solutions will start to come to you in that way. But if you're doing things and you don't have the time to sit down, or it can't be quiet, you got 3 kids that are yelling outside of your door the whole time, maybe you have to just ask ChatGPT to reframe some things so that way you can get it to a point where it's like a suitable piece of content, a suitable piece of information, or it's a pretty good idea for a new type of solution that you have. But remember, ChatGPT is not your friend, okay? Don't have too deep of conversations with it. Don't get too lost in thought with an AI, all right? It is in fact still a tool. It is something that is just going to provide you information to build off of so that way you can formulate your actual ideas and your actual solutions and your actual content do not just copy it straight out of the dialog box. So all you have to do is basically critically think to understand how to ask ChatGPT things, and then critically think on how to use the information it spits out. Hopefully all that makes sense. If you guys got questions about ChatGPT, or let me know like the weird ways you guys are using it for your business or for your hobbies, or really just for fun in general, I'd love to hear them down in the comments below. And if this has been something that's been really helpful for you, you might want to check out our free 0 to 100K in 12 months with digital products 5-day challenge down in the description below. Go check it out. Tons of people love it, and I will see you guys in the next one.